Hello friends, welcome back to BlondieNextDoor. Okay, for my first project, I'm using the leftover rolls from, one was from foil and the other one was from similar thing, and I'm also using the leftover handles from paintbrushes, foam paintbrushes from Dollar Tree. And first thing, I'm gonna mark where I wanna cut my rolls. I'm using the box cutter. These are pretty hard cardboard rolls, so I had a little hard time cutting it, and I was very careful not to cut myself. After I cut both of these to the size that I wanted, I decided to sand just a little bit. Even though that's a cardboard, I wanted to still sand the edges so they don't look chipped. I wanted the smooth finish as much as possible. After that, I'm using a foam board, a leftover foam board that I have. I am tracing circles for the ends, so 2 for each roll. Then I'm using my Exacto knife and the board that came with it. I'm gonna link that in my description box down below if you need of one. This one is a very good one and very affordable. And then I'm cutting out the circles. After I cut out the circles, I am taking the super glue that came from the Dollar Tree. It's like a E6000, and I am using that to glue these circles to the ends. The reason why I took this glue opposed to hot glue, because this gives me a little more time to work with, to move it around and put it in a perfect place. Next, I am cutting these 2 handles in half, and then I'm sanding the ends again just to make it more smooth. Now I'm using the Waverly chalk paint in a color mineral. I'm using all the paints that I have on hand. I didn't purchase anything new. That's why you're gonna see a lot of similar paint colors going around, but that's okay with me. I am giving one good coat to both rolls. And after both were dry, I'm taking the Waverly chalk paint in a color truffle, and I am dry brushing over it. If you don't know what dry brushing is, it is basically just taking a little bit of paint, dabbing onto a towel, and just brushing onto your project, leaving behind just a little bit of paint. And honestly, I really like how this curved line looked on my roll. I really think it gives it such a character to it. Next step will be to paint the handles, all 4 of them, and I'm using the same truffle paint by Waverly, and I am giving it one full coat. After that was dry, I am using my mineral chalk paint, and I dry brushing on them. So I am doing opposite of what I did with bigger rolls. When everything was dry, I'm putting a little bit of hot glue on to my little dowels, and I'm putting them on both sides of my rolls. And as you can see by now, I am making the rolling pins. I made a bigger one and a smaller one. The next step would be to write something on my bigger one. I decided to just handwrite it using the Ray Down font, and I'm writing the homemade using my pencil. And when I was happy with the way it looks, I am just using a regular marker to trace it over, and that's it. The next step would be to take a little bit of white twine that I got from the Dollar Tree and wrapping around one side of the rolling pin and just making a very simple bow. I'm doing the same thing with the smaller pin. Rolling pin, I am not putting any letters on it. I'm just leaving it plain. And that completes this first project. I'm so excited how this turned out. I cannot believe that I made something so beautiful out of something that would go in a trash. It is just perfect upcycle, and I love the way it looks. On to my next project. I have these leftovers of a painter sticks from Lowe's, I believe. I already used them for some other projects. So what I'm doing right now is I'm taking 3 of them. I am putting them next to each other. One is facing opposite direction, and then I'm marking where I'm gonna cut on the bottom. And I'm using my little saw. That's the only one that I have right now on hand. And I am cutting each of them. When everything was done, I am sanding the edges. I'm not trying to make it perfect. It is farmhouse style, so it's okay to have a little bit of rough edges and imperfections. And I also wanted to make sure the edges, the corners actually are a little bit curved. Then I'm taking the top part of one of the boards, and I'm drilling a hole, and after that I am just gluing these together, and you see that I'm trying to create a cutting board. Now I'm taking my screwdriver just to roughen up the surface a little bit. Then I'm taking a Waverly chalk paint in the color Silver Lining and taping the bottom of the cutting board, and then I'm gonna paint the bottom with this color. I will paint back and front also, and the sides. I wanted everything to be cohesive, and I wanted it to be to look nice, and if I want to put it anyway in a display, I wanted both sides to look nice. After everything was dry, I took the tape off, and the line was pretty straight, which I was happy with. And then I'm taking the Rust-Oleum chalk paint in a linen white and just lightly dry brushing the top part. I didn't want to paint it. I really liked the wood grains showing. And the only thing left to do was to take the same white twine that I took earlier, and I am just making a little hoop on top and tying a knot, and that is it. That is my little cutting board, farmhouse style cutting board. I am happy that I was able to make it out of something that was in my garage, so it cost me absolutely nothing. For my third project, I am using 10 Jenga blocks that I had already on hand. I did not go out and purchase any of these things that you see over here. If I didn't have Jenga blocks, I would probably go ahead and get something else that I have in the house. What I'm doing over here is I am gluing 2 together, so there will be 5 sets of 2. After that, I'm sanding just a little bit to take out the glue and any imperfections. Next, I am gonna first put them all together to create a mini house, to see where I have to glue, and then I'm gonna take my hot glue gun and just glue them together. I will attach everything to each other except the roof. The roof will be the last to be attached, and I'll show you that later. Next, I'm taking just a cardboard that I have from the cereal, and I'm tracing my little house, and that's gonna be the back part of the house. I'm cutting it out, and then I'm taking this beautiful Arteza paint in a color raw umber, and I am just painting the frame. After that, I'm taking my Rust-Oleum chalk paint in a linen white, and I am coloring this cardboard. I'm not trying to be perfect. I just made sure I go in the same direction so it can have kind of a grain on it. Wood grain. And then I am taking the same paintbrush that had a white leftover, and I'm dry brushing the frame of the house. Next, I am using again my pencil. I am gonna write letters. It's gonna be let's bake. First I wanted to write let's stay in and bake, but it was a little too long, so I decided to just put let's bake. And I used 2 different fonts. What I know how to write, I'm not very good at these things, but I try. And after that, I am just tracing it with a marker again. And the next thing I'm going to do is just to glue the frame of the house on the top of it with my hot glue. And that is it for this project as well. You saw how super easy this was, and I think it turned out super, super cute. As I said earlier, all these projects cost me nothing. I had everything at home. If I would have to count how much was everything that I previously purchased, I would probably come down to maybe 50 cents for all 3 projects, maybe not even that much. So I think it's perfect. This only shows you that we can all be creative if we have to. We didn't even know we have it in ourselves. I didn't know. And I'm very happy that I got this side of me out and I get to create a perfect things out of nothing. So please stay home, look around the house, what you can use to create something, and just stay safe. Thank you so much for watching. Please tell me in the comments which one was your favorite. And if you're not already part of my channel, I would love to have you. So please click that red subscribe button and subscribe. And like this video and share this video, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.